So do your votes in the Democratic primary actually matter? Let's hear what ex-Obama staffer Anton J. Gunn has to say about that matter on MSNBC.
And we've started to hear this more and more, and we'll probably have a better sense, obviously, Tuesday after the 1,300 delegates that are up for grabs there are spoken for. But this idea that perhaps Bernie Sanders is moving the goalposts a bit when it comes to delegates and what could go down at the convention in Milwaukee. What say you to that?
Well, I will say that Bernie is moving the goalposts. This is what people need to remember. The Democratic Party has a party. The party decides its nominee. The public doesn't really decide the nominee. The public gets to vote for President of the United States, but people who are active in the party, who participate in the party, they decide the nominee. Superdelegates are very influential in the party. Also, delegates are very influential. And just because you're a pledged delegate for Bernie Sanders or a pledged delegate for Joe Biden doesn't mean when you get to the convention floor that you'll stay a delegate for Biden or Sanders. That's a process. And so it is a process to pick the candidate who wants to be the standard bearer for the party to try to win in November. And so Bernie got to understand that process. And it's a real selective and detailed process. In 2008, the Obama campaign from the very beginning focused on the delegate process because we knew it all was going to come down to the delegates, who's committed to you, who wants to be on your team at the end, and do you really feel like they can be elected?
What's he trying to say? That the Democratic Party chooses their candidate, not the voters? I don't think most people know that or think that. Could he possibly be right? Well, according to 270towin.com, unpledged delegates, better known as superdelegates, will make up about 16% of the Democratic Party delegates in 2020. These party insiders are part of each state's delegation, but are not committed to vote based on the outcome of the state's primary or caucus. So these are insiders who are delegates who help choose the Democratic Party nominee, but they don't have to listen to the voters. If you didn't know about that, it gets even weirder. So this year it looks like they changed the rule that superdelegates will no longer vote on the first ballot at the convention, but they will come into play if it's not a massive landslide victory. All delegates become unpledged, with an estimated 771 superdelegate votes coming into the play if the convention is contested. So if I'm reading this right, correct me if I'm wrong, there's going to be 771 superdelegates who don't have to vote with the voters, and then all the delegates become unpledged, meaning they could change their votes? I guess that's what Anton J. Gunn was trying to talk about when he said that the voters don't actually get to decide, but the Democratic Party gets to decide.
This is what people need to remember. The Democratic Party has a party. The party decides its nominee. The public doesn't really decide the nominee. The public gets to vote for President of the United States, but people who are active in the party, who participate in the party, they decide the nominee.
So why do you barely hear about this in the mainstream media? Since they're so concerned with election rigging and interference in our elections and an undemocratic process and fascism and all this stuff, how come they never talk about this? Well, the answer is simple. The mainstream media, the television, celebrities, musicians, actors, they have a massive left-wing skew. Some people call them neoliberals or democratic elites. Others call them fake news. And some people just flat out don't trust them. When it comes to the late night hosts, Jimmy Kimmel, Trevor Noah, Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers, they all parrot the same exact agenda. There's no diversity of thought there. It's mostly all the same stuff. When it comes to television, every single television station that's mainstream has a massive Democratic Party establishment left-wing bias. The only one that goes against the grain is Fox News. But what do? They convince you that Fox News is the one that we need to get rid of, and then the TV will be perfect because Fox News is so bad. But the truth is, without Fox News, you have 100% Democratic Party establishment control over the television. And that's creepy. What's even creepier is left-wing progressive Bernie Sanders type supporters. Where do they go to get a fair shake in the media? They don't go to MSNBC, they don't go to CNN. Most of them go to, believe it or not, Tucker Carlson on Fox News. That's where Glenn Greenwald gets a fair shake, progressive left-wing person. That's where Jimmy Dore goes to get a fair shake. That's where Tulsi Gabbard goes to get a fair shake. So not only is Fox News the only right-wing and right-leaning station in the mainstream corporate media, but weirdly enough, they also give honest and progressive left-wingers a better shake than left-wing media. But once again, the entire media complex is misleading people in unison. They put out movies where they're smearing Fox News like this one. They put out big Netflix documentaries where they're smearing Cambridge Analytica like this one. And I'm not saying Fox News or Cambridge Analytica is perfect, but in a lot of ways, it's like 95% them, 5% Fox News and Cambridge Analytica, but they're trying to place 100% of the blame on what they're doing. So people don't realize that they're actually doing much worse things themselves. The Democratic primary is absolutely the most rigged part of our elections. You have people who work for Obama bragging that it's not about the voter. It's not about the Democratic people who want to choose their nominee who they think is best, who they'll vote for.
This is what people need to remember. The Democratic Party has a party. The party decides its nominee. The public doesn't really decide the nominee. The public gets to vote for President of the United States, but people who are active in the party, who participate in the party, they decide the nominee.
It's about what the Democratic Party themselves think. Even the Republican side is not that rigged. And Trump did a much better job of calling it out.
From an elderly woman.
Let me talk quiet.
How tough
A lot
is
of
it?
times, that's all of his donors and special interests out there. So that's what it is. That's what. And by the way, let me just tell you, we needed tickets. You can't get them. You know who has the tickets for the? I'm talking about to the television audience. Donors, special interests, the people that are putting up the money. So it is. The RNC told us we have all donors in the audience, and the reason they're not loving me, the reason they're not loving me is I don't want their money. I'm going to do the right thing for the American public. I don't want their money. I don't need their money. And I'm the only one up here that can say that.
So does your vote matter in the Democratic primary? I would say the answer is complex. Partially, yeah, it matters. But partially, if they decide to just take somebody else, no matter which way the votes go, or if it's not a landslide victory, they just get to completely choose the delegate, then I would say, no, it doesn't matter. But this is what happens when almost the entire media complex leans liberal towards the Democratic Party establishment. No one knows this stuff. They think it's all Fox News and Russia because that's what they tell you on loop, on loop, on loop. So you never catch on to the fact that they themselves are rigging our elections more than anybody else. What type of creepy communist Chinese, Soviet Union, Russia style system is this where they get to choose the candidate and not the Democratic Party voters? Superdelegates are really strange, but that's how they think. It's our party, we choose, you're just go along with it, and if you don't go along with it, we'll say that you're sold out to Russia or Trump. It's like the delusion and the hypocrisy just never seems to end. And this type of bias spreads out further. It's Google, it's Facebook, it's YouTube. Even Reddit used to be like, ooh, we're the free speech guys who just let you have an open forum. Most of Reddit has a massive left-wing skew, and the one right-wing place, the Donald, got quarantined, labeled dangerous, and they're basically shutting it down for all it's worth by censoring it, shadow banning, and making it nearly impossible to even try to visit the website. But of course you're not going to hear about it on TV because they're the PR team for this type of stuff. It's all Fox News, it's all Cambridge Analytica. We're not doing anything. And if you disagree, you're Russian. It looks like they're going to do to Bernie Sanders exactly what they did to him in 2016. And it looks like Bernie Sanders is once again going to do absolutely nothing about it and just blame Russia. So I thought I'd make this video to let Republican voters, Democratic Party voters, independent voters, and people who literally don't care about politics at all explain that the Democratic primary and the superdelegate process is one of the most rigged parts of our election by far, but you'll hear almost nothing about it in media because they're really not that good at their jobs. They're not that honest. They're not that objective. The comedians, to be honest, aren't even funny anymore because they just parrot Ukraine, Ukraine, haha, they told us to say this. So somebody's got to keep it real. And if you care about fair and open elections, especially if you lean left and you're a Democrat, ask them why they're going around bragging about how your vote doesn't actually get to choose the nominee. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. And God bless the world. I'll be back with more videos, and thank you to everybody supporting on Facebook and Patreon, and thank you to everybody who's not supporting on Facebook or Patreon. I don't care that much, and I really do appreciate when you watch this video with an open heart and open mind, and especially when you share the videos. I appreciate that. Have a good week. I'll be back.